Just recently there was a church holiday, the day of Dmitry of Uglich, that buried Tsarevich Dmitry, celebrated by both Pushkin and Glazunov. Truly, it's quite an amusing little church holiday. And from it, you can see that the Kremlin has always enjoyed indulging in its spiritual bond. This was the year 1606. And back then, on the eve of the great time of troubles, there arose a need for a grand spiritual and patriotic event that could solve everything and unite everyone. And from the perspective of the then Tsar Vasily Shuisky and Patriarch Hermogenes, such an event could be the canonization of Tsarevich Dmitry of Uglich, who was stabbed to death in 1591, if I'm not mistaken. But in order to canonize him, it was necessary, well, at the very least, to present the incorruptibility of his body, something resembling holy relic. Well, when they arrived in Uglich, dug up and opened the grave of the Tsarevich, of course, by the standards of incorruptibility, what they found was completely unsuitable. Suitable or not, the canonization had to take place no matter what. And for this canonization to happen, the public had to be presented with an incorrupt, fresh-looking body of the Tsarevich, despite 17 years spent in the grave. The organizing committee, represented by Shuisky, Hermogenes, and others, pondered over this, but in the end, they solved the problem. And in creating this unifying symbol, both Shuisky and Patriarch Hermogenes demonstrated true Orthodox ingenuity. They bought a child under 10 years old, a certain Romashka, well, Roman, most likely the son of a Streltsy musketeer. After paying the Streltsy father a good sum, they took the boy. The boy was stabbed, dressed in royal garments, and laid in a coffin. It was all very simple, and the coffin was left open for public viewing for only a very short time. Just until the moment when the body of the freshly killed boy began to show signs of decomposition, but they managed to bring him to Moscow while he was still fresh, convince people of his incorruptibility, and deeply move the public. All of this is covered, among other things, in works by the USSR Academy of Sciences, published as far back as 1955. In other words, this canonization was a resounding success at the time. And the intensity of patriotic feelings was extraordinary. And most remarkably, as they watched the people's rapture, even the very masterminds who knew the whole background of the event were moved to tears. But it must be said that this unifying force still didn't work, and soon, very soon, turmoil tore Russia into tiny pieces.